why they need to get through this faster.
Well,
but I do like coming back. I do like coming back to them to kind of cut them in with the moment. I wish it was earlier for that reason.
I think that it almost feels the same as how we asked for humans to be seen in the background, so that it's a payoff and a threat. When he gets to the use of the word Rankin or whatever that is, which first off, I get that they're giving him that so he's intelligent, but that means nothing to an audience that doesn't understand it. And especially there's no threat if you've not first shown me that it's safe in an area. You have to have that Geiger counter going, and it's like, it's okay, we're okay.
Again, it goes back into the how long has this time frame been? How the apes been so smart that they know about radiation and all this stuff? We know, there was a child born, to Caesar at some point, so we have a time frame there, maybe 10 years. But we've gone from apes, being scared of fire and revolting against their oppressors, to they know about radiation and how long they can stay in the area with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really need to know how they got so smart in such a short time.
And I would have liked the threat of the radiation being in the city earlier, just so that I know why they need to move quickly.
Right.
And I guess kind of what you were suggesting, Todd, the use of the word inmates would have been a good time to actually show that somebody else is there.
Yeah.
And then when we finally see the workers, we get the sense that they are inmates. I mean, if you saw people kind of scurrying behind, not trapped behind bars, but you use that kind of grating, then this use of Virgil's use of the word inmates would now begin to kind of make sense about what we're coming across in terms of the city. Well, that's a very powerful choice of words.
I know we've seen the dead city, but you know what? There should have been ape bodies or human bodies outside the city, riding away saying, he was here too long or something like that, to show that, if you stay in the city too long, it's irradiated and you're going to get fucked.
I mean, there are just some simple filmmaking ideas that are missing in this. And, I hate to go again to having watched Escape from New York recently, but that's a great example of this when you step into a world. So, you're on the outside world and you go in. It's the same thing here, and how they so effectively in that movie tell you that there are threats. There are little pebbles that go. We see flares off in the distance and you hear people scurry by. Those are all things that are missing for this that they're simple to add in. In fact, I'm trying right now to look up budgets for those two films. Now, I know that this is a very different circumstance. You got a kiddie movie that you're trying to crank through, and you've got one by a guy that's had a hit recently, and he gets to make this. But, I mean, their budgets were about $18 million apart, but still, these are not things that are going to financially break you to add in elements like that. If anything, you look at Rob Rodriguez with El Mariachi can take $7,000 and create a very effective bit of storytelling. I don't know if this is people getting in the way of Thompson and just not letting him tell a story, or if he's just a gun for hire trying to crank this through and get it done so he can move on to a better project.
That's
why not
to say. It's sad to say, but that's what it feels like. I think this part of the plot about them going into the city and encountering these people and the fact that they're doing this busy work and bored, I think is interesting. I think it's not well written. There's no mystery or surprise. And then I also think in terms of storytelling, it's just boring.
Yeah.
It's lazy.
Well, that's the funny thing about film is that it's not that hard to at least say, if I do these things, I build that tension. Now, doing it effectively is another thing, but just for them to push past it and that base level, we're just going for a kid's film, and they're speaking down to the kid at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're about a third of the way through the movie at this point, and this is just not an exciting reveal that the mutants are there. It feels like it should come later or something.
Yeah, I think that even if you keep it in here, let's go back to kind of where some of this started with Richard, not liking the first shot of the mutants because we'd had nothing to tell us that they might be there. They're just there. Imagine if those people scurrying around and they hear them, and Caesar could say things like, it looks like it's not only the radiation that might be a threat, something to that effect.
Yeah.
And then those people run, and they're the ones running to, and that's how we meet Culp. And then, shot pushes in, and you're like, oh shit, he survived. And they're like, they're apes, sir. And he's like, I knew it. Anything like that would have been like, oh.
Culp should.
Yeah, I mean,
we're setting up Culp to potentially be a villain in this film, and he's not frightening. He's not terrifying.
He's bored.
He's bored.
He's bored. So yeah, and you had read the script and saying that he's supposed to look older and more grizzled or whatever. He looked exactly the same as the previous movie. Just the little
they put some putty on him to make him look like that's about it.
It's the sad thing that this film, in a lot of regards, is shot very well. Interesting angles. You can see again that Thompson is working well, and especially with his cinematographer Klein. And these are men that had a lot of success in other films that were done very well. I hate to say it. I really think now that we've said it, maybe this gun for hire mentality is let's just crank it and let's move on to the next thing.
Get through it, yeah.
And that's what it feels like, because they're just treating Culp like nothing. It would have been so cool, and all these things we're saying, even if he's like, I knew there was a threat, and then he could turn around and it's like, oh, thank God there's a threat. You could add those layers in. There's
finally nothing. Something to do, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing. Just nothing.
Hey, and also it would have helped if the female, what's her name? I'm sorry. Alma. If she had been in the previous movie.
Yeah.
To be, a second subordinate to the governor, so that she's not new. They're using Culp because we had him from the previous movie, but it would have helped if we've also had her in the previous movie as well.
Yeah, you had, didn't we have a secretary or something in one of the scenes inside the governor's?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've had females deliver messages. They could have just used one of those females and just had a sense of continuity with that as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're supposed to have McDonald, right? The original McDonald. So him and Culp and Caesar should have been enough to kind of connect everything together. But I get they're singling out Alma in this moment as somebody we're supposed to know, and we don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, I'm going to step way, way back into the week and say I finally found one thing that only talking about the irradiated city, that field of rubble which represents the destroyed city, was on the 20th Century Fox lot. And that's all it says.
Okay.
That's all I can find, is it just said on the lot.
I mean, I'm just thinking of it right now. If you even want to make it a more complicated relationship, you have, instead of being a female there, you have an ape there, that they still have an ape working for them or still being a slave for them. So maybe that's the person that ends up helping the apes that are out in the wild. Eventually, I don't know how this movie ends, but they will be the trader for the mutants that ends up helping the apes. Instead of just a woman there that likes putting on makeup.
Sean, I also found this for you, that because you mentioned the mutants' costumes had changed so drastically, apparently they used the monochrome uniforms that most humans wore in Conquest, but adjusted them for the wear and tear of post-nuclear. So outside of the stocking caps, apparently they're a derivative of that same thing. So at least I've helped explain away something there.
Again, if they had put more thought into knowing there was going to be a movie, you would have seen maybe these outfits being worn by lower class citizens in, the city. You have the governor wearing normal clothes, you have apes wearing their clothes, and then you have lower class humans wearing the mutant outfits or something like that. But, it just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. All right, I think that's just about enough breaking down. And here's the great thing: I think that there was great stuff that we found to talk about in this, but it's another really missed opportunity from the filmmaking standpoint of what could have been at least a much better story at this point. And at this point, beyond that point, I'm kind of already feeling a little confused by what's happening. So we'll leave it there. We'll be back tomorrow. Everyone, have a stinking great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
The minute of the apes.